here we have him on screen. CJ enters Protoss in a 1-0 lead. Top left of Belcher Vestige.
CJ enters sora.
Such a good player. Incredible micro that he showed us in the first game. Really well done. His Stalker control was impeccable. And now we have him up against his Protoss opponent on map number 2. Bottom right starts
Air Green Wings Pigbaby.
Pigbaby maybe a little bit too stressed out in game number 1 here. He was trying to harass with the Oracle in the main base of his opponent, but he unfortunately missed the force field, and he also lost his Void Ray. The multitasking here lacking a little bit, and definitely giving Sora that one the edge that finally won him the game. But a very quick and a very aggressive game that we saw in map number 1.
It's really hard to talk about things in the beginning of PvPs because they match up so fast. But I want to ask you, like, how do you feel about the map pool right now this season? I feel like it's one of the best ones we've ever had.
I really like it, actually. I don't think we have... We always had, like, maps, at least one map in the pool that was, like, kind of weak. And or was in the pool for like a long time. Let's talk about Daybreak, for example.
Yeah.
Daybreak was in the map pool for such an eternity that at some point you could actually like cast a lot of the matches for the first 7 to 8 minutes without even looking at the map.
Yeah.
You knew exactly what would happen. Like a PvZ on Daybreak was like always the same for the first 5 to 6 minutes. It could be really exciting if the player mixed it up. And it was nice to see players edging out small advantages, but there had to be something done. And I feel we now have once again a stable pool. We had good pools in the past, but at some point you have to just exchange maps.
Yeah, you know, I feel like right now I look at the map pool and there's not a single map that I think, that map's got to go next season. I think Belcher Vestige is like a pretty, it's a pretty long, it's like an older map that we've had, but it's not like too stale like Daybreak, and there's no Entombed Valley, right? You know, where you're just like, or Crossfire, where you're like, well, this just isn't fair.
Calm Before the Storm.
Yeah.
That of course back then were map pools for the GSTL rather than for the individual league. But yeah, Calm Before the Storm was like one of those maps where they're like, what?
Yeah. That map was...
that was one of those maps where I'm really interested in what the map maker smoked before I created it.
Delta Quadrant map.
Definitely gave him a lot of creativity, let's put it like this.
Yeah.
You know, like jokes aside, like back then one of the problem was that, or one of the thought process behind a lot of maps in the early stage of Starcraft was actually like you wanted to help balancing the game and make the game as exciting. But then one of the main things that a lot of people were not really happy about is that you 1-based and 2-based on most of the maps because the rush distance was so small. So a lot of people just went for all-ins, and then bigger maps were created to make up for that, make it a little bit harder and give players the opportunity to play more defensive and go into the late game, which is one of the reasons why we had a map like Calm Before the Storm, which arguably overdid it a little bit with the map size and the distances between the bases.
Yeah.
But map discussions aside, we are going now into a rather aggressive build for Sora here, who starts things off with the Twilight Council, whereas Pigbaby decides to this time not be the aggressor, but go into an expansion on his own, building the Nexus here, and trying to bring it into the mid-game, whereas Sora just drops the Dark Shrine, going for the Inca Memorial build.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised to see the Dark Shrine. He spent so much chrono energy on his warp gate, I could have sworn we were going to see some aggression into Blink. But I actually like Pigbaby's build a lot better, and he also sees there's no Nexus here, gets a Robotics, and I'm telling you what, man, he sees no Nexus here, he's definitely going to make an Observer first. He's not going to play the Immortal style that we saw from Crater that partially led to his demise. I feel like Dark Shrine in PvP is kind of becoming the weakest opening, because it's so easy to do builds where you get the Robotics out now, and nobody's really doing Stargate openings very often anymore.
One of the problems that you have with the Dark Shrine in general in the Protoss versus Protoss matchup is this, the hallucinated Phoenix. That only works, on the other hand, if you really scout with it.
Yeah, if you actually pay attention to what you're doing, like now he's going to go in there and see it.
But it's just so easy to spot it. So players are not really... Like, back in the days, if you go for a Dark Shrine, you usually go for a little bit of a hit or miss build. You want to hide it, and if you can, then you can do damage and you can possibly win a game. But if it's scouted, you don't do anything at all.
Yeah.
But with the reduced cost inside of the Swarm, and now how the Phoenixes work with the hallucinations, people, and like Sora as well here in this game, it's a calculated risk. Like, if it's scouted, you're still happy with it. It's still okay. Like, you would like it to not be scouted, but you have to account for the fact that your opponent is most likely going to send a hallucination your way. There's like... It's like the standard. You want to know what's going on. So, like, you expect it to be scouted. If it doesn't get scouted, then all the better. But if it gets scouted, you still have the safety. You can get your expansion up. And right now, I mean, let's say just Pigbaby, he can't really attack the Nexus. He can't move out. He knows that he's are going to be there. So if he leaves his base, if he leaves his safety here, he's not going to do anything.
Yeah, you're certainly right. One thing I really like is the transition into the Warp Prism, though, because most players will actually just, even if their Dark Shrine is scouted, just make DTs anyways, and go, well, maybe he just played super risky, maybe I can get away with this, but Sora makes not even one DT until he has his Warp Prism. Now that he's got the Warp Prism, he can drop, and that might actually catch Pigbaby off guard. And Pigbaby's probably feeling comfortable in his base now, thinking, okay, I've dealt with that, but his Observer's at the natural, and that's not where it wants to be right now.
The DTs right now just give him a lot of safety on his own base. They give him the potential to drop into his opponent's main, so there is flexibility that he can use, and it's quite versatile.
Okay, so he made cancel. I was about to say, did he not notice? Yeah, he made cancel in the main base.
There's
really
another
safe here.
DT coming out of the natural.
Yeah, there's an Observer there, and with the cannon going up, this is just super safe by Pigbaby.
He's immediately out here. Harvester count is a bit ahead for Pigbaby, who of course got his expansion faster. We pointed that out earlier. In terms of tech, he's also the first one who goes into the robotic spay. Will be able to get the Colossus out much faster than Sora here. And right now, I feel from an opening perspective with the earlier Nexus, Pigbaby edging out a slight advantage, especially in economy here. And so far, the Dark Shrine didn't really pay off for Sora.
Yeah, not so much. And I mean, I like the idea that he's got that always the threat lingering there, but with the cannons, it's just kind of completely negated. The fast Colossus here is something we don't see very often in this matchup anymore. He's kind of rushing it out, and I think it's a safety measure by him because he knows that Sora might be poised to attack soon, given that his DTs did virtually no damage.
Yeah, Sora right now still on the map. He has that map presence, but Pigbaby is quite happy to play the defender's game here. And once again, Sora just trying to find out what's going on. He also wants to see what exactly comes out of that robotics and when it happens. So here we go again, scouting for both players. And Sora decides to just move back for now and sit tight.
Yeah, sitting tight here and getting a charge. So we could still see a pretty interesting attack with charge. If you get a massive amount of Zealots, you get them in. He's kind of banking on the fact that his opponent might not be going Colossi, which is the opposite case here. And the upgrades way ahead here for Pigbaby. With good chrono, he can continue to push that. Of course, it just depends on what Sora wants to chrono, but with the charge coming down and now the Temple Archives, he's probably not going to be spending all of his chrono on upgrades here. Wow, 6 gateways is really going to do the charge zealot attack.
He's going for it. He has the opportunity to get Arcans into the mix now. He's going for additional Immortals, and Immortals are great if you get close enough to get put pressure on those Colossi. At the same time, with the Templar Archive now, he has a little bit more options in terms of Arcans. Can later on, could go into Storm. Don't usually see that all too often here. But right now we have the plus 2 attack upgrade, and with a massive amount of gateways alone has already been spotted by Pigbaby. So he has an idea of what's happening here, while he himself takes the third base.
He needs to add his own gateways and cancel that Nexus. I can't believe he thinks that he can keep the Nexus while he scouts this, you know? Third base does go up for Sora at the same time, but I don't know. This is a lot of gateways. You've seen that? Yeah. He needs a gateway wall. He kind of has one here.
He's going to cancel the third base of his opponent. There is no way that Pigbaby holds that third base with this massive army coming in. Those Colossi won't be over there in time.
I like this fake Warp Prism. He's got a second Warp Prism coming in the lead base as well. He's just totally mind-gaming him here. I mean, his gateways are scouted, right? So he decides not to attack. Forces a cancel on third base, takes his own third. Now he's transitioning to Tempest. I mean, Sora's all over the place, but I'm loving everything he's doing. He's just always one step ahead of Pigbaby.
Pigbaby is trying to get his third into the game, but his third base of Sora is faster, and Sora is still the one who puts the pressure on. So even though in terms of like a unit composition for a time being, Pigbaby arguably had the better composition and the better damage output, he can't really move out. He has no play there. He's just sitting tight and trying to get back. But the problem really is that we have now the tech coming in for Sora. He's getting his units. He is sniping that third base. He has his own third already up. He's trying to do it again.
He could do it again.
He will do it.
I think he actually is going to do it. No question about it. With the Immortals here, and yeah, he can recall. He's just got so much potential here. And if the Colossi try to walk down, he can be targeted. Time warp on the Colossi. He tries to get in with the Immortals. One Colossus falls.
The first Colossus is already down, and Sora is going to town here.
He can still recall. Oh, now he can't.
Gets sniped, and that's a bit of a problem here.
The Observer also sniped.
Army will be able to just get away.
He needs to run away. That was scary.
He still has that third Nexus. He has the better income. It's starting at least. Like as soon as he distributes his probes a little bit more evenly on the mineral lines, that will come into play like heavily. You can really see that his income is already rising at the top right. terms of upgrade, they're still at the same level. And this is starting to get really, really a big issue for Pigbaby. His economy has taken already a big blow.
I wonder why he doesn't just drop those units out. He could actually kill the Stalkers easily with that. Zealot run by over here at the third will be cleaned up, but it does damage the shield to the Nexus. +3 on the way here for Pigbaby, but the Fleet Beacon is on the way for Sora. He will have Tempest. The Stargate was already scouted, so obviously Pigbaby is going to expect this transition, but he's attacking, at least moving out, poised to attack before the Tempest are ready, because Tempest versus Colossi, the Tempest really do work.
He wants to find those pylons first, and he goes for the pylons, he spots them to the left side of the map. The Warp Prism is still there, the probe trying to hide, and actually he does not see it, so he can just put he can put the pylon down again, no problem.
Yeah, there is a cannon, that's really smart. Without the cannon, Warp Prism can do so much. The first Tempest is on the way. A very unique unit to see in Starcraft 2 right now. We don't see it all too often, except in PvP.
The Warp Prism is moving in.
Yeah, here we go, and the cannon is not enough by itself.
Yeah, the cannon alone is not going to be enough. Here comes the Warp in on the other hand. Takes the cannon down first, and now he can warp in, and he warps in immediately.
Yeah, this is so well played by Sora. The DT is doing so much damage here, and now Pigbaby has to make a difficult choice. Does he commit here, or does he turn around?
I think he's going to attack here. He's going to lose the Nexus once again. And at the same time, we might have a base race here, since Sora just moves to the bottom of the map.
Don't forget, he can recall back home if he wants to as well. He doesn't have the Tempest out. He's trying to buy time for them. I think he might just sack the third, trade the third against Pigbaby, then recall back to the natural.
His third is already gone. There's the natural being attacked. This is going to get really close. That one is going down. Here we go. Sora is moving in with what he has. Wants to go for the natural of his opponent. He still has that Warp Prism.
He recalls. He's actually going to recall into the main base here, or... Oh, what?
Oh, he recalls to the natural, and here goes the fight. He's trying to save it. He sniped the natural of Sora, and now he recalls back, trying to save his base. And that might actually work. Sora forced to retreat here, and for now, Pigbaby held.
I wasn't even sure who was recalling there, and obviously now the game stabilizes a little bit, but I like Sora's position slightly. Problem being that the next counterattack might be too much. How many times does he have? He has 2. His Immortal's here taking a lot of damage. That's not ideal. And he's actually going to lose the Nexus, it looks like, because he doesn't have enough units here, and his Immortals are sniped by the Zealots.
He needs to get the rest of his army over there. And at this point, in army size, we have a huge lead for Pigbaby. Pigbaby is actually pulling this off right now. He has everything that he needs. Here come the Tempest, but can they really do the damage? Not in time. The Nexus is down, and suddenly it's Sora who has a massive problem at his hand. He's running out of minerals in the main base. His income dropped 2 base economy at this point for Pigbaby, and a much bigger army.
Yeah, that Warp Prism is actually a terrible idea here. GG, and we go to game number 3.
The +3 attack upgrade also giving him an edge. He just had the better upgrades there, and also really good decision making. Very clutch end of this game though.
Yeah, the decision to come back to the natural ended up being the right one. And that's a really difficult decision to make in that situation, especially because recalling units take damage. They take a while to recall. And he knew he had enough army. He sniped the base, went back, and he had the better composition. Let's be frank about this. I mean, the Tempests were on their way to become scary, but they were not quite there yet. He only had 2. His Immortals getting sniped at the third base was a big problem as well with those Zealots.
Yeah. At the end, I mean, there was just a couple of blows out of nowhere. Like, Sora thought that he had the edge here. He played really well, sniping the third base over and over again, and making sure that he had the better economy. But when the 2 armies passed each other and they went for a bit of a base race here, and then the recalls came into play, that was when Pigbaby really took the game. At this point, Sora had an edge over him, and he knew that he was on a block, so he went for the right decision, Pigbaby that is. And now Sora has lost the game. Not a 2-0 today. Can he win against Pigbaby?
He's getting a little bit of a pep talk right now. He looks very stressed out. Pigbaby going solo here, totally alone. No one's talking to him. He doesn't need anybody to talk to him. He's just shaking his hands, getting ready. And if you look at these 2 players, how they have themselves in the booths, Pigbaby's cracking his knuckles like I'm ready to take game 3, and Sora's looking at himself like he's beating himself up. He's punched himself in the face here.
You know, some people have that mindset where they do not even want to have advice. When they are like in the zone, they don't want anyone to annoy them. They were like, okay, just leave me alone, let me do my thing, 1 game at a time. And Pigbaby, no advice here, sitting in the booth, looking confident, going into game number 3 right now. He was down a map, he had his back to the wall, he fought his way back into the best of 3 series, and might decide it now against Sora. Is Sora going to play in the up and downs? Will he go to the 3rd round? Who advances here? Pigbaby versus Sora, Game 3 at the WCS Challenger League Korea. Null and Wolf.